Are you tired of playing the same old boring Dragon commander?
Well, today we're going to teach you how Tiamat can spice up your commander games. Hey YouTube, my name is Dr. DM.
And I'm the Mind Flayer Slayer, and today we are bringing you something new, a Tiamat Commander Deck Tech. We are very excited about all of the new cards that have come out in Tarkir, Dragonstorm, and we think that they make Tiamat finally a viable commander for your table.
Now don't get us wrong, Dragon is still a fantastic commander for those dragon decks with its Eminence ability, which all the Eminence abilities are very strong. But Tiamat is now going to give you very explosive gameplay and very unique gameplay that is different than what you're used to. We're going to go through it today. Card by card of a 99 playing Tiamat in our deck, and you're gonna love it. We loved it, and we have played this at MagicCon, at our home games, so we're ready to go with what we think is a very good deck. It's kind of like a bracket 4, not CDH, but it's fun to play anywhere.
Very powerful.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Very, very powerful.
This is not going to be a budget deck tech, but let's get right into it.
Okay, so we have Tiamat here. This is gonna be a 2 Wooburg. It's a 7/7 flying dragon, and this is the most important part. When it enters the battlefield, you search your library for 5 dragon cards not named Tiamat with different names, reveal them, and put them into your hand, and then shuffle. So where does this come into play?
Because it says when it enters, if you cast it, and there's a new card called Dracogenesis, and Dracogenesis allows you to cast dragons for free. So this is going to allow you to do some crazy combos. It's a tutor in the command zone so that you can get an instant win right on the table almost as soon as you can get Dracogenesis out. Now, Dracogenesis is a little bit costly, but we have a couple ways to cheat that into play that make it exciting as well. So let's get into the 99.
All right, first up, we have Invasion of Ioria, and we will have the Mox field available in the description below if you want to check it out yourself. So battles, sieges were really fun when they came out in March of the Machine. Let's talk about this one.
So Invasion of Ioria is a tutor for a creature in your deck. So it is going to allow you to, when it enters, search your library or graveyard for a non-human creature card with mana value X or less and put it onto the battlefield. And if you search your library this way, you shuffle. There are a couple fabulous targets for Invasion of Ioria, and we're going to be getting into those a little bit down the line, but it does some incredible tutoring, and then if you flip it, which is very easy to do with flying dragons because they're unblockable, you're going to be able to get in with even more damage on the back here with Zilortha, Apex of Ikoria.
This one makes all your non-human creatures assign combat damage as though they weren't blocked. Once you get this going, if you have a few dragons on board, it doesn't matter what happens with your opponents, your damage gets in and all the effects as well.
Absolutely. Dinosaurs and dragons, a match made in heaven.
Dino dragons.
So we've got Sarkan the Fireblood. This is the only Planeswalker in the deck. It is a fabulous card for ramp with its +1 ability because you get to add 2 mana in any combination of colors. You're definitely going to need that in a Wooburg deck. It also gives you some card draw. There is the downside of discard, so it's not necessarily card advantage, but being able to filter through your deck is definitely helpful.
Yeah, we don't play much of the graveyard in this deck, but still, it's a good early Planeswalker, which is what you want. We're not really looking to do 6, 7, 8 mana Planeswalkers because it's mostly dragon focused. Okay, so let's keep going. And if you ever get the ultimate, it's fine, but not necessary.
Agreed. So we've got Birds of Paradise. It's going to give you a tap for any color of mana. Good ramp.
Of course, Wooburg.
Fanatic of Ronas. This card is a busted ramp card.
It does do a lot of work because imagine all your dragons are most certainly going to have power 4 or greater. So you'll be tapping for the 4 green a lot.
A lot. And if you don't have that for some reason, you can Eternalize Fanatic, and it's going to be a 4/4 itself, and that is going to give you the ability to get that 4 green.
Yeah, so if you dump it in the graveyard with Sarkan, for example, or another loot effect, you can always get this back to start ramping up faster.
Yes, indeed.
And this next one is interesting because this deck is focused a lot on creatures and getting those dragons out. We do lose from Dragon the Eminence ability, which reduces the casting cost by 1 for all your dragons. So we thought there's a few ways to kind of get that effect in with Anomar, Soul of Elements, and one other card from Dragonstorm you're going to see in just a moment. So why is this important?
Because when you cast a creature spell, you're going to put a +1/+1 counter on Anomar. You're going to be casting a lot of creature spells in this deck. And then creature spells cast 1 less to cast for each +1/+1 counter on Anomar. So this is really powerful. It's going to give you a ton of cost reduction for your dragons, especially over time. And because it has protection from white and black, 2 of the biggest removal possibilities that could be targeting this are not going to be able to get rid of it.
Yeah, because even though our game plan is to get Tiamat through Dracogenesis, a lot of times dragons can win just by playing a bunch of awesome dragons that do like crazy strong effects.
Exactly.
And are just strong flyers with evasion and everything. So having that cost reduction is still very important. So we are baking a couple of those effects into the deck.
Absolutely. Up next, we have a Moonblessed Cleric. This is from the Adventures in the Forgotten Realms set, and it has Divine Intervention. When this creature enters, you may search your library for an enchantment card, reveal it, and then shuffle it and put it onto the top.
I wonder what enchantment card this will be.
Dracogenesis.
Yeah, good. So we have a few ways to be pulling out those really strong enchantments. And Dracogenesis is certainly going to be your best because you can get Tiamat out with it immediately once you can cast it.
100%.
But there's still the good enchantments to get if, for example, your Dracogenesis gets milled out or something. So it's still a great card to have as a backup.
Indeed, it is. And we have Rivas of the Claw. This is more ramp, and it has Menace, but you can tap it to add 2 mana of any combination of colors, and this is only going to be for dragon creature spells. During each of your turns, you may cast a dragon creature spell from your graveyard. So if you do happen to lose one of your precious flying creatures, you can get them back.
Or ones that form part of like the instant kill once you play Tiamat, your set of 5.
Indeed.
And this is a new addition to the deck. Sarkan, the Dragon Lover, Soul of Flame here. Dragon spells cost 1 less to cast. Another one of those effects for lowering the casting cost, just like we saw earlier. Very pivotal, and at only 3 mana, it's a good way to get this down and then start getting your dragons in. Coming
Earlier,
down the board.
yes.
Yeah. And it has the added benefit of whenever dragon you control enters, this Sarkan becomes a copy of it, except its name is Sarkan. It's legendary, so you can have 2 of the same dragon essentially and get things like, I don't know, make double treasures with your Gnawbone, things like that.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful. And it also, there is a tutoring dragon in here, and that would give you an opportunity to tutor for 2 cards. Now we have Teemer Battlecry. This is also new from Tarkir Dragonstorm. It's very powerful during your turn. Spells you cast cost 1 less to cast for each creature you control with power 4 or greater. Again, baking in as much cost reduction as we can early games so that our dragons can fly to victory.
Yeah, and there's not many dragons worth playing at this kind of mana cost anyway, so you might as well have creatures that make the dragons that you want to play for your game plan be ready to go.
Absolutely. Next, we have
Dragonborn Champion. This is a 5/3 trample. Whenever a source you control deals 5 more damage to a player, draw a card. Dragons typically have 4 and usually more power, and there's ways to get +1/+1 counters on them and draw cards, which is so important for Commander, as everyone knows. Card advantage, card advantage, card advantage.
It is the most important thing. We also have Magmatic Hellkite. This creature is primarily there for its land destruction. Dragons have, their plan is basically just go big, go wide, big damage, but it is good to have utility of some removal, and since we've scaled some of that back so that we can have some really crazy combos, it is great to have a body that actually is going to do land removal if you're trying to go against those Field of the Deads and, you know, Gaia's Cradles and that sort of thing.
Yeah, and it's really cool because you can take away one of their necessary lands, for example. If they have 1 blue and you know it's part of like their counter strategy or whatever, you can destroy that card and whatever comes in, even if it is blue, it's stunned.
Yeah, so
that
it's
can definitely put them down. It's something like you're kind of pseudo time walking your opponent.
Yes, you are.
In a way. So use this very strategically and it's going to pay dividends. And now we have the Scavenger Regent. This is new from Tarkir Dragonstorm. It has the Omen ability here, which is sort of like the Adventure, but different in that when you cast the Omen, the dragon then goes back into your library. But why is this Omen so good and this card so good in particular in the Dragons deck? Because it has X, black. Each non-dragon creature gets -X until end of turn. That's fantastic. Yeah, it's like a one-sided Meat Hook Massacre kind of thing. Yeah, or like a Crux of Fate, just baked into 1/2 of a dragon card. So really good to have for your dragon deck.
Absolutely, and it's got this cute little baby option if you get this art.
Oh, cute.
See?
Oh, it's a baby.
And up next, we've got Goldspan Dragon. This is a must-have in any dragon deck. You've got flying, you've got haste, things you need, and you're going to be getting extra treasure tokens whenever it attacks or becomes the target of a spell. You're getting a treasure token, and treasures you have control, sacrifice this artifact, add 2 mana of any one color. So crazy on the ramp for this card.
Goldspan Dragon is a fan favorite. I've loved that everything since it came out in Kaldheim, and dragons love treasure. Dragons love making treasure, and having that doubled means that you might not even need to do your big combo with Tiamat. You can just start ramping out dragons and all sorts of fun stuff.
Just hit face.
Yeah.
So we have Scion of the Dragon. This is a Wooburg card that has pay 2, search your library for a dragon permanent card, and put it into your graveyard. If you do, Scion of the Dragon becomes a copy of that card until the end of your turn. Again, this is going to help you get one of those prime dragons into your graveyard and then immediately onto the field. It won't give you the ETB ability, but it is going to give you access to one of your dragons that might be deep in your deck.
This is a great card to have. As you probably know, Scion of the Dragon has a lot of times been its own commander because of the fun, interactive things they can do. So just having 99 is going to make sure that you can get the dragons you need when you need them.
100%. And we have Scourge of Valkas. This is part of the big damage win combo. One of the options that you can tutor for. Whenever this creature or another dragon you control enters, it deals X damage to any target, where X is the number of dragons you control. So you're going to be able to hit face with this if you have a lot of dragons entering at one time. And if you've got Dracogenesis on the field, you're going to be able to do a lot of damage for free.
Yeah, and order them correctly, right? So this one comes down last, for instance, so you can get more dragons to start boom, boom, booming.
And we've got Terror of the Peaks.
This is a fun one. It's a dragon that has attack spells your opponents cast that target this creature, cost additional life. Okay, that's not that important. What's important is the following. Whenever another creature you control enters, this creature deals damage equal to that creature's power to any target. So if you're casting this with that Dracogenesis Tiamat drop, where you're dropping 5 dragons at once, then this, really, no matter when you cast it, you're just going to be shooting face, along with Scourge of Valkas.
This card alone will take out at least one of the players, if not 2, at the table, depending on how you order the triggers, and depending on which dragons you are fetching, and depending on if you have even more dragons already in your hand.
That's true. And dragons already usually being evasive and getting some damage in here and there, and their power is already natively high, so this is just going to come in as a force of nature.
Absolutely. Now we've got Ancient Copper Dragon. This card is very expensive, but it is very powerful. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you roll a d20, and then you create a number of treasure tokens equal to the result.
This is incredible.
It's insane.
I mean, sure, you could roll a 1 on your d20, but more often than not, you're going to be rolling a good amount. If you have like Goldspan on, then you're doubling those. Or if you have Old Gnawbone, then you're getting all sorts of treasures based on the power. But here, once you have those haste enablers for your dragons, this is going to come out of nowhere, and then you're just going to be spilling all your cards on the battlefield with all those treasures. So incredible.
Super powerful. Dragonlord Dromoka is also very important for the Dracogenesis combo. Now, again, there's a couple different ways you can do it, depending on if your opponents are tapped out or if you think that there are going to be free counterspells at the table. But I typically recommend that you include this in your 5 search cards, because when you put Dracogenesis down, as long as this one comes in, you're going to prevent it from being countered and then other spells being cast during your turn. So it's very powerful. It prevents your super crazy wombo from being disrupted.
Yeah, because it's mostly like a creature strategy, right? So you don't want them to get exiled with like a Swords to Plowshare or something. So good one to get, make sure you have it down.
Exactly.
Mirrim Sentinel Worm. This one is a banger, I think. It's got, of course, flying War 2. War 2 surprisingly good. You'd be surprised. And whenever another non-token dragon you control enters, you create a copy token of it, except the token isn't legendary. So you are just like, this isn't
busted.
You don't have to pay 1 or 2 to make the token. It just happens. So sometimes you can get Mirrim, and Mirrim's also a good commander, by the way, too.
Very good.
But once you have this on the board, it's going to start getting out of control and snowballing very, very quickly.
I also encourage this one as one of the 5 that you search, because if it comes down,
Goodness
you're going to
gracious.
double up on all of those dragons coming in.
Then the whole board is
You
wild.
win.
Yeah.
You win.
You could probably even kill yourself if you need to.
Yeah.
Okay. And next up we have Ancient Gold Dragon. This is a really good strategy even before Dracogenesis, because whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, roll a d20, you create a number of 1/1 blue fairy dragon creature tokens with fly equal to the result. So why is this so good? Of course, this card's expensive, but if you got the haste enablers, which you should have a lot of, and we'll talk about those in our enchantments, when this gets in, you're creating a lot of 1/1 dragons. You think, okay, well, that's not very strong, or they can get board wipe, right? Here's the secret. Once those dragons appear, and you have your other set pieces ready to go, for example, the Terror of the Peaks, Scourge of Valkas, or most importantly, Dragon Tempest, every dragon that appears then does damage equal to the amount of dragons on the board, right? So once you have 1 or 2 critical pieces on there, this then becomes a critical mass of dragons that then you can easily defeat 1 or 2 or even 3 players with. So this is awesome in and of itself.
Insanely powerful card, truly.
Yeah.
Up next, we got Balefire Dragon. This is a classic of many dragon decks. Whenever it deals combat damage to a player, it deals that much damage to each creature that player controls. This is a good board wipe, essentially. So it's a good way to do sort of mass disruption. It's expensive, but again, you're going to be cheating this out very easily. It's a good utility piece in the deck.
And next up, we have Karthus, Tyrant of Jund. This is Flying Haste, which is good. When Karthus enters, gain control of all dragons, then untap all dragons. So this might not usually come into play unless you're playing with another opponent who also has dragons, then it's insane. And other dragons you control have haste. This is critical because dragons have mostly a lot of effects when you hit face or when they attack or whatever. So this is a huge game influencing piece to have in your deck and to have out ASAP.
It's also one of the cards that you should tutor for, because if you put this down, you give all of your dragons haste. So with whatever opponents remain standing after all of the burn damage, you're going to be able to attack phase that turn and blow everybody out.
Yeah, and haste is huge for dragons because they are sort of slow and lumbering, even though they have the evasive aspect. But having more sources of giving your whole team haste is critical, and we'll see there's a lot of enchantments we have that do that as well.
Yeah, and if you have one of those down, you don't have to search for this, but by having it on a creature that can be tutored, it's going to be very powerful.
That's true with Tiamat. Awesome. Next up is Klauth, Unrivaled Ancient. Another flying haster. When he attacks, you add X mana in any combination of colors where X is the total power of attacking creatures. We've talked about this already. Dragons have a lot of attacking power, so you're going to be getting a lot of floating mana ready to go, which you don't lose as steps and phases end to get out your other dragons or ramp towards Dracogenesis or other powerful enchantments.
Amorphon the Boundless is up next. It has Changeling, so it is a dragon. When it enters, you choose a creature type, dragons, and spells of the chosen type cast Wooburg less to cast. Again, great ramp, but this only is going to reduce the amount of mana of colored mana you pay, so that's very important. You can't use this for generic mana costs. It's also going to give other creatures of the chosen type +1/+1. Great card in the deck, pretty easy to get out, again, with all of the cost reduction that we have, and it's going to give even more cost reduction. It really is often worth holding back a minute and using this so that you can just go really crazy all at one time.
Yeah, and the +1/+1 is surprisingly useful because remember, dragons sometimes do damage based on their power, or draw treasure based on their power, or draw cards based on their power. And in addition, because we have those cost reducers like Sarkan that reduce the actual generic mana cost, if you have that plus a Wooburg reduction, then you're able to catch your dragons for quite cheap, actually. So, great card.
Indeed. And we've got...
expensive old Gnawbone.
Super expensive.
But worth it, because whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, create that many treasure tokens. There's usually in Commander, you can be able to attack at least one player, right? And you have all these ways to get haste, or you have dragons on the board that are already naturally evasive. Your treasure tokens are going to be ramping up, and you're going to be doing, you don't even need Dockside. You have all of Gnawbone.
You're going to have more treasure than you could ever possibly need.
It's great. So make sure you get that card draw engines going, and you'll be good with this.
Up next, we have Ureni of the Unwritten. This is a new commander option in the Tarkir Dragonstorm commander decks. It's very good. It is one of the possibilities for tutoring, because whenever it enters or attacks, you look at the top 8 cards of your library. Guess what? There's a lot of dragons in your deck. You're probably going to look at a dragon, and you may put a dragon card from among them onto the battlefield. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So again, this is just going to, if you have enough of those 5 pieces, and you can put this down, and you're going to get even a 6th piece now that you can put onto the board and do crazy damage.
Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, with the saturation, the numbers of dragons in the deck, you're absolutely going to hit one. And even if you don't have all the other stuff down, getting another dragon straight to the battlefield is very strong because you're going to start linking and comboing effects.
It makes its cost worth it, and its cost is already probably going to be reduced, realistically.
Next up, we have Ancient Silver Dragon. When this creature deals combat damage to a player, with that haste, hopefully, roll a d20, you draw cards equal to the result, and you have no maximum hand size. So this is a great way to make sure you get that full grip. Sorry, the fullest grip if you roll a 20. And if you have everything down, your combos are running, and I mean, this is going to be a way for you to definitely probably win that turn, if not next turn, especially if Dracogenesis down.
You've got plenty of card draw forever. And Astral Dragon is also very powerful. When it enters, you create 2 tokens that are copies of target non-creature permanent, except they're 3/3 dragon creatures in addition to their other types. Read that again, that there are copies of target non-creature permanent. That means that if you're worried about your Dracogenesis getting blown up, guess what? You can make a copy of Dracogenesis and put it on flying bodies.
Oh my god, that's amazing.
Among other things, but that's one of the things you can do.
Yeah, and it could also be your opponent's stuff too, so maybe they have something that gives your dragons haste or some other effect you really want to have in the battlefield. This is really cool.
Really cool. And Hoarding Broodlord. This card is also very important because it's another way that you can search for enchantments. Now, it is costly, and it is a little restricted because of that 3 black in its casting cost. But when it enters, you can search your library for a card, exile it face down, and then shuffle. For as long as that card remains exiled, you may play it. Spells cast from exile have Convoke. So this is a great way to, again, get Dracogenesis, get one of those other pieces out of the deck that you need at the moment that you need it.
Yeah, you can also pay the black cost, of course, with some treasure if you get your dragons up early that do that. And with the Convoke cost, although you're not going to have like a huge amount of dragons on the board usually, but if you need to get this, if the game is about to end or something, next turn, or you only have one more turn, and you desperately need to get one of your enchantments down, instead of attacking the dragons, tap them for Convoke and get this out to get your enchantment. Okay, and the Dragon. Whoa, wait a minute, you said the Dragon was in the deck. Okay, guess what? It is in our deck, but it's part of the 99 because the Dragon is still fantastic, and you have those cost reducers, or if you have like Morphon out, this is really inexpensive, and it's just the Dragon because even if
you gotta
don't
play
have,
it.
Yeah,
It's a 10/10.
Yeah, if you don't have it attacking, that's okay, because if another dragon you have is attacking, you start drawing cards. So having card draw, having these powerful effects on your dragons, which you're playing to win, are very, very critical and very important for this deck.
100%. And that is going to do it for the creatures in the deck. We're going to go through everything else a little bit quicker, but most of it is about getting your card draw, getting your trample, getting your haste, and most importantly, getting your combo pieces out so that you can do some crazy stuff with Dracogenesis.
So first up, Demonic Tutor, of course, one of the game changers. Again, this deck does not reach CEDH. I know Tiamat can now sort of be like fringe CEDH, but that doesn't matter because we just want to have a really fun, powerful deck. We can play at like a challenger level at like a MagicCon, for example, or your local LGS, and have a really good chance of winning, if not having just a great time. It's not very oppressive, but it's just fun and clear what you're doing and powerful, which is awesome. So Demonic Tutor, search your library for a card, put it in your hand, and then shuffle. A great way to get Dracogenesis.
Yes,
and
indeed.
other enchantments.
So Farseek is part of your ramp package.
And Rampant Growth is part of your ramp package.
We also have Cultivate, which is part of your ramp package.
And Idyllic Tutor, which is a way to get an enchantment card, Dracogenesis, and other good enchantments that are crucial for the Dragon's deck.
Kodama's Reach,
Which is part of your
ramp package.
Wow! And Crux of Fate. This is such a cool card. This has won me a lot of games.
A goodie.
Yeah. You choose one, destroy all dragon creatures or all non-dragon creatures. Of course, it's going to be the latter. Fun card, very fantastic, and not that expensive, actually. And we have 2 board wipes now that are one-sided.
Rishkar's Expertise is going to give you lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of card draw, so that's going to be always good.
And this is land tutored. Everyone knows the power of these tutor cards. That's why it's called a tutor. And it gets that artifact or enchantment that you need and goes in the top for winning.
Stubborn Denial is a little bit of protection. It ends up being typically a 1-mana card that's going to counter, and this is going to protect your plan at any point because typically you're going to have enough spells that it will be counter target spell, target non-creature spell, unless its controller pays 1, but that's normally just going to be counter spell.
Yeah, with the power 4 or greater on the battlefield. And Swords of Plowshare, of course, a staple and fantastic for 1 white.
The Vampiric Tutor is also going to be, guess what? Tutoring for Dracogenesis.
Woohoo! And then Beast Within, a good removal spell.
Mox Jasper, brand new, shiny rock, makes your dragons cost less. Part of your
ramp package! One thing to keep in mind, though, with this Mox Jasper, I kind of encounter this, is that it adds 1 mana of any color, correct? But you activate it only if you control a dragon, right? So the dragon has to be on the battlefield before this taps, where you can just like put it down and then tap it. You have to have the dragon down first. So it's awesome and it's a Mox, but has a small caveat.
Soul Ring.
Oh, Soul Ring. Should this be banned?
No.
Next up, Arcane Signet. You know what this does. And Fellow Warstone. You know what this does.
Herd Heirloom is freaking crazy in this deck. Being a 2-mana rock that can tap for any mana of any color, or giving a creature trample, and whenever it deals combat damage, the ability to draw a card. If this is what 2-mana ramp is about to be in Magic, we're going to have the craziest power creep ever.
Yeah, because this
is busted.
It doesn't just add a mana. It does a bunch of other crap, which is so good for dragons. They all have power 4 or greater, and you want them to hit to get their effects and card. Oh my god, incredible. Lightning Greaves, protection for, I don't know, do you need it? But I guess one of your dragons that you want to smack face with, or have like your on your old Gnawbone.
And haste.
Oh my gosh, and haste, just like Swiftfoot Boots.
Haste!
And also Carnelian Orb of Dragonkind, which is a mana rock at 3 mana, but also gives haste, which is critical because a lot of the pieces you want to connect to start doing treasure and start drawing cards so you can start.
You gotta get in quick. Dragon's Horde is just, again, another rock. It's gonna give you some card draw. I've potentially thought about taking this card out. I might be fiddling with it a little bit more and taking it out, but for now, it is still in the deck.
Yeah, it's called Dragon's Horde, and it's a Dragon's deck.
It's Dragon's deck.
I'm good with that. Next up is Urza's Incubator. This is really good for like tribal effects. When this enters, choose a creature type, dragons, and the creatures cost 2 less to cast. Again, with this, we are probably not going to lose not having the evidence from Dragon with the power of Tiamat now and the other pieces of this deck.
Definitely not going to be missing it as much.
All right, Dragon Tempest. So this is one of the premier enchantments for the Dragon's deck. When the creatures enter, they get haste, critical, and when a dragon enters, it deals X damage to any target, including face, or X number of dragons you control. And you're usually going to have some dragons, and when you have, for example, the white dragon, it's going to start popping off, creating more dragons, and you're dealing more damage as they enter. Or if you're doing Tiamat and you're dumping dragons onto the battlefield, then you just zap, 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 zap.
Ka-chow!
Yeah, it's awesome.
Up the Beanstalk is crazy.
Everyone knows how busted this card
so
is.
Busted.
Yeah, with 2 mana. I mean,
draw
incredible.
cards.
Yeah, which you will because
So many
dragons have
cards.
a lot of mana value.
So good.
And this is a cool new one that I love.
This card's amazing. We love this card. We've been playing a ton of it in limited
Dragonstorm, yeah. And this is, I mean, when you get this down, you just have the +1/+0 and trample and haste. Really, really good. Doesn't draw a card, although if you do Jeskai mode, then you can start drawing cards. So I like the modality of this.
Yeah, because if you already have a haste enabler down, then you use it for card draw. I mean, that's just a no-brainer.
Yeah. And it's so awesome when your dragons start getting in there, because having to wait a whole 4 turns to get your dragons to attack sucks. So,
boring.
Yeah. So get this down and reap the benefits.
Garruk's Uprising, it's going to give you, again, that card draw. It's also going to give trample to your creatures. This is very, very, very good. It is another enabler in the deck. And it's cheap. You're going to be playing it early in the game, and it's going to be playing dividends as you go along.
And the more you have of these, the better, because it's more likely, of course, you're going to draw them in your first, hopefully, like 10 or 15, or as you get more card draw.
Exactly.
Okay, and then Shadow in the Warp. I kind of like this card a lot. The first creature spell you cost on each turn costs 2 less to cast. This is enchantment. It's not even that expensive at only 3 mana, so you have that Urza's Incubator kind of already, very cheaply, very early. And whenever an opponent casts their first non-creature spell each turn, that enchantment deals 2 damage to that player. You know they're going to be casting non-creature spells. That's just how Commander works. So you're already going to pre-pinging everybody as your dragons hit in. Yeah, this is really, really
good.
Fun. Yeah.
It's really fun.
It's like a reverse.
You crushed us in the last game we played because of this card primarily.
Yeah.
Like it enabled you to go crazy.
Yeah, then your opponents have to kind of double think what they're doing. It's not as annoying as Ristic Setting because you're not asking, you're just doing.
Yeah. And Teemer Ascendancy, creatures you control have haste, another haste enabler,
and card enabler.
Card draw. And the MVP of the deck! Woo! We've been talking about it. You've been waiting. Genesis. You may cast dragon spells without paying their mana costs. This is huge because you may cast dragon spells without paying their mana costs.
Which means ETBs, and now you have like your Enlightened Tutor, you hold 1 white man open, and it goes to the player before you use end step, get Dracogenesis at the top, then you pull it, then you play it on your turn, then everything's free anyway, so then just go boom, 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 so they're maybe not ready for it.
And the other crazy thing about this is you can cast your commander for free.
That's crazy.
With this card. Yeah. And now there's an important ruling note here. You will still have to pay commander tax because that is a separate tax that is paid as part of the casting cost. But you can get Tiamat out multiple times now.
Oh my God.
Because you don't have to worry about its casting cost because Tiamat costs 2. I don't care.
Yeah. So there's lots of ways to get Dracogenesis. There's a lot of card draw to get the Dracogenesis. And I think dragons function very well on their own, even without this, because they're very powerful, I think, outside of like CEDH, but for sure, at most tables, most games, even at higher bracket levels.
1000%. Now, there are a couple cards in the deck that are busted. Dracogenesis is one of them. But you want to know what makes Dracogenesis more than busted? Show and tell. Because then you can play show and tell, because that means that you get to play Dracogenesis not for 8 mana, but for 3.
So for show and tell to work with Dracogenesis, of course, you have to have both pieces in your hand, which you can do with your tutors, or just hold it off until you're ready to go, or people are tapped out, right? Then show and tell, Dracogenesis down, and then all your dragons just come down and you win.
Yeah, and that's going to do it for the deck list. Thank you so much for watching. We hope you enjoy it. Let us know what you think about the list, what changes you might make, what additions, subtractions in the comments down below. And let us know if you like seeing stuff like this, because we are D&D players and TTRPG players, but we are also big Magic the Gathering
players. We love
Magic
the Gathering.
And we will continue bringing you Magic content that is appropriate if that is something that y'all want to see.
If you'd like to see deck techs, I have done some gameplay for you on the channel. We have done some limited gameplay before, Magic Arena. So if you're down with Magic the Gathering, we know Magic the Gathering and D&D are actually very similar. I know they're in the same multiverse universe now. So we love this kind of stuff. Yeah, let us know in the comments. We appreciate you. Thank you very much.
We'll see you next time.